Hopefully that worked. Do we see my assignments for CarelCon real-time collaboration? Great. So you have access to all the material I'm presenting. The first I can tell you is that when I work in CodeHS, I completely revamp my classroom on CodeHS, and I make it into my learning management system, my LMS. So that's what you see here is all of my own content. So in addition to Collaborate, you can see how it works when you create your own content and make your own LMS. And I'm going to start in the beginning. You see where we are. So welcome. Has everyone signed up for a CodeHS account, a teacher account? I know that a teacher account takes a couple hours to a couple days, depending on how many people are looking for one, because the team verifies that you are a teacher before they hand you all of the answers to all the exercises. But here is a link that we can pop into the chat if you want to sign up now for your teacher account. You don't need a teacher account for this session, but if you wanted it, we'll start here. For this session, you will need an account, a free account, a student account, any account. And when you go into making an account and you join a session, you'll want to join this section. This is where we are. So hopefully put that in the account. And I love that Zach's shoring up everything I say. He's getting all the edges. He's building all my edge cases. So thank you. I'm giving you my experience. So he's shoring up the edge cases. So Zach, will somebody put this link into our chat so that we can have people join this section and we can see them join? And in Collaborate, I'll start with, you need to be signed into CodeHS with an account in order to use the Collaborate tools. So that's usually a question we get right off the bat. And most of these questions I can answer with the things I didn't do and went a little south, and then I corrected for myself. So I give you a lot of the information from firsthand in the trenches learning. And so for all my students, you need to be in CodeHS for a Collaborate account. And I'll tell you what I did, because I really wanted to use this for our, we have a day when prospective students taking to the elective can come and join. And I thought, oh, we're going to collaborate with those prospective students. We're going to blow them away and how great this is to bring students that have they don't know much about coding, or they've done it somewhere else where it's a teacher with a PowerPoint, and we're going to blow them away. And the first thing I found out is that you need an account. And so instead of giving students a school account, I mean, I could just make accounts and give them any account, which is what I'm telling you now, that if you, to use this, you just need to log into CodeHS. So you'll find, and for when you use it for your students, you need to be logged in. So you get all of what I learned. So let's start with what is real-time collaboration. You can see it happening here. Usually for my classes, I start with the collaboration. And in a workshop that isn't CarelCon, with fewer people perhaps, we could start with a collaboration if everybody had been signed in. But you see a reenactment of it in the slides. And it's where real time, everyone on their own device, their own fingers on the keyboards, can type together to create something. And I love that. And I usually give my students really open-ended prompts like, why computer science? And then some people would, like, if they're in Python graphics, they make a rainbow, or maybe a little computer image. Really open-ended that allows students to work together. And again, different levels and different experiences. And you'll see that in a minute. So this is what it looks like. And if my slides are in the right order, the next thing I want to do, if we can, and if you're in CodeHS, is to give you links to choices to collaborate right now with me so you can experience it. Because part of the fun is just doing it. And once you're in it and doing it, you'll be like, I want to do this for all my classes, which is what I do. So we have the links. Can we copy them and put them in the chat? I've given you choices. I've actually given you 4. 3 show up on my slide. You can join where you are most comfortable. You can join in Karel. I think I did just the super Karel. So Karel can turn right and left, but not the ultra Karel. You can join in Java collaboration, a JavaScript collaboration, and a Python collaboration. And I think the Python I did was the graphics, as opposed to the straight on syntax. So here are choices. And if you want to, if you look right before the question mark, you've got Karel, Java, JavaScript, and there should be a Python. And I will know because, see if it allows me to change screens easily. Yes, people are joining. So let me do this again and see if I can, if it'll just jump over to another screen. Might not. Let's collaborate in Java. It didn't jump. I'm gonna just stop sharing for a second so you can see it working. Super fun. Here's the fun part. I'm going to do, let's collaborate here. Did that work? Yes. So you can actually see all of them, I can tell. In the let's collaborate in JavaScript, and we see we have 7 people. And this is what I do with my students. So Adam, I love it. Hi, everyone. Can you uncomment the name and create something? And I'm in JavaScript, so I'm seeing Adams. And I gave you an example of move something around, and I did my name, Debbie. And I can take the function out, let somebody else do it. But join, and you can see what I do with my students too. I give them a teeny bit of guidance, but I'd say, in this case, make something, and I'm gonna move over to, I need to move the, there we go. See if that goes. Okay, so in Java, who's in Java? We've got 12 in Java, fantastic. And then other things about working in Collaborate is I rarely correct. If it prints, it prints. If it doesn't, I let other students come in and debug. But I try in my classes, which given I have such a really strong voice, to be a smaller voice in the room, to let my students guide and lead each other in as many activities as I can do, including debugging. In Python, what do we have? Fantastic. We have 14 in Python. Anybody having fun yet? As much fun as I am watching this happen. This is how it happens with my students. It's just so much fun. I'll talk about a couple different things. Do I see it here? The feed button where you can break it off and have your own. We usually have one of those. Let me look and see if it's somewhere else. I don't see it right away. A change. Never mind that last bit. I'll give everyone just a couple more minutes to have fun. So something new, which is fantastic, is we didn't have names pop up in colors until right here with you. So thank you for that incredible update and upgrade. I'm so excited because I'm sure that's an email I sent in more than once of how will I know who is doing what, which is why you see I did the name next to it, because that was my way of accountability. I'd say every student in my class, we need to see your name and do something. And you see the choices. It's like if you're just a beginner, less experienced, print something, do a loop, do an if statement if you can, do something more. And then as it got more and more complicated. And then they learn from each other. They just look up to the one above them and they add it in, or to the one below them. Great learning tool. Let's give this another minute since it looks like people are still having fun. And you're able to see on my screen everybody else's fun, regardless of the one that you're jumped into, hopefully. The Karel. So Karel's interesting. So it's guess, guess, guess. And you're learning this as I am. So what I'm learning in Karel is the names are guessed, and I don't know if that's because they're guessed. If I did it, will it say my name? I can't tell. Maybe not. Okay, so we're just seeing it right now. And this is what I love about CodeHS is I like actually watching it bloom right in front of my fingertips. It's so exciting to be part of this growing platform, which is really how I feel. Okay. I think we're getting close to it. Should we try and run them all? Let's just run and see what happens. Tammy, we got to do it. We need Tammy to finish here. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to run it. Let's see what happens. Fantastic. And then let's collaborate in Java. Let's run it and see what happens. Lars is still typing. I love that I can see Lars's name and see who's typing. So we have an error. And if we were in my debugging workshop, we talk about how we address the errors in my 7 steps for my students to go through how we're going to figure out the error. But since we're in a collaborate workshop, I would leave it to you, who's ever in the Java, if you want to right now go in and fix an error, go in and fix the error, and we'll come back to it. And if you don't, that's fine, because let's just keep working on what collaborate is really good for. Thank you for the question. But you can all see mine running because I'm on the main screen. Great. Right. And then I'm going to go to Python. Let's do it again. We'll run it. Let's see what happens. So awesome. And what's great about this, and I'll tell you also I use it, for when students, so when this is our work together time, but my students also have this homework piece of it where they have to do the CodeHS activities, the video, the quiz. Thank you for all of these activities. The video, the quiz, the test runs, and then make for themselves. And when a student comes back and it doesn't work, and also I tell my students, again, this is the debugging, but I tell my students, take 20 minutes. If it's 20 minutes and you've done any one activity, stop, put a timer on, just stop, and write a question. Send me a question, wherever it is. Let's cut down on that frustration that can build up if you're alone and it's you're in your room and you're trying to just 20 minutes timer. That's all I want from you. And then when I see it, the first thing I might do in class before we even get to the collaborations, I'd put it on the collaborate, and I'd say to everyone, "How are we going to debug this? What do you think is going on?" And so that's another way I use collaborate tools all the time. I just copy it, I put it in my own sandbox, and I push it up. Okay, I think we have one more to do, the Karel. See if it runs. So awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so with that, I'm gonna see if I can stop sharing this set of screens and go back to my slides. Got more to say. Was that fun? I need to go back to here, share. Okay, continue. We're in the right spot. So let me answer some questions, and they all came, I went through these all myself as well. Only the owner can save that project. So I'm looking at Zach. There used to be a feed, a spinoff, where you can save your own. I don't see the feed here. You can put in the chat whether that exists or not. But if not, I tell my students, copy it. Just copy it out, make a sandbox, and put it in your own sandbox. So whether there's a feed or not, I encourage my students to take these and play with them. Also, I can then share it out. You lose the collaborate. We'll get to that in a minute. But I then can share the link, and they can go back and see their own collaborations. The fork button. Okay, yeah, the fork button. That's what I meant to say. Exactly. So then, right, maybe that's what it is, that I'm in the, anyway, thank you. So let me go back to collab. Zach can answer the question, I see, but I'm going to go back to the slides. The owner saves the program, and the owner needs to be in the program for all of this to work. If the owner closes the program, the shared link is no longer active. So I had to create that link right now for all of you. And when I sign out of these programs, that goes away. That shared link goes away, which is why it's suggested that I tell my students, take it, put it in your own sandbox, or I share them just the share link so they can all see the work they did together. And in case they want to replicate it or debug it or do something later. I know there is a sandbox, a parking lot tool. If there's any questions, I hope they're going in parking lot, or somehow we're getting questions up here. Usually I have a better idea of questions.
Yeah, Debbie, we're watching the parking lot. We're answering some questions on the doc. Some of the questions so far are just where people can access the tool, which we've helped with, and also how many collaborators can there be on a single project. From what I've seen, I don't think there's a limit, but you know your students. For some teachers, it's a fun intro activity just to see, okay, we're all going to log on, what happens, but.
Great. This is a slide of what the collaboration tool looks like if the owner has left the room. So that's a great question. How do we do this? Here's my slide right here. You would go to your own sandbox. You would create the program in the language or variation of the language that you chose for your students. And you saw here I did 4. And what's really fun and a little funny is that whenever I do something on the CodeHS platform, not only do I make my own LMS out of it, but when I talk to my team member and I say I want to use it, the team member says, oh, that's not usually how people use it. So I keep stretching and stretching and stretching. So I've actually got in my class students on their language of choice, which I love about CodeHS, is that I can put them, I want to learn Python, I'm like, done here. I want to learn JavaScript, done here. And what that gives me in the Collaborate tool, and I tell them, we are being language agnostic. We are learning fundamentals. We don't care what language you're in. So if you see a problem with a for loop and you've got a solution to a for loop, tell them. Tell what you know and learn what you don't, which actually allows my students to see the range. And I love the larger range, because when I was learning computer science, it was such a narrow range. I didn't understand how anything fit together. So I love the idea that it allows me for my students to real-time experience a larger range of learning of like where they are and where they fit into something bigger. So this is how you do it. You go to Sandbox, your language of choice of what you want to do, open the Sandbox. And collaboration. We can see our collaborators here. That's why I had so much fun seeing 14 people in my collaboration. Okay, now it's your turn. So everything I do is hands-on. Everything I do, I ask who's ever here to join. Will you start a real-time collaboration in your language of choice? And will you put your link to your collaboration into our parking lot? Or do you want parking lot, or you want it has to be parking lot, right? Where do you guys want it? I'm asking Zach and Aaron and.
Yeah, I'll make a section of the parking lot where people can post their links. So down at the bottom, I'll make a little row that says add your sandbox here.
Yeah. So you'll go into your sandbox, you'll create your program, you'll go to collaborate, and then you will click on the copy button in collaborate, and you'll post it to us. Kim asked, how do we get to the parking lot? Fantastic question.
It is in the chat, the parking lot link to the Google Doc.
Fantastic. And then how I can actually bring this back, and I do this to my students too. If you have questions for me, comment them out and put them right in the document you're sharing, right in our parking lot. So, right in our collaboration. So if you have any questions of, I don't understand this, or how do I do that, just get in the document and then comment it out and ask the questions. And it's another, I can real time see it. So as much as I actually love and use the communication to my students in the environment, this is another way of like right away getting right to the students' questions, because another thing that I'm trying to do with my students is all the ways we can decrease the frustration in building up. And I say the frustrations that we don't want, the ones of the access frustrations, so we can get to the frustrations we do want. And that's the challenge of learning how to code. Those are the good frustrations, that where the learning comes from. The good, like, get in there and how do I figure it out? Okay, so I'm assuming we've got them up, and I'm assuming, I gotta go back. See if it lets me. I'll be able to reach them. Shall I go to the parking lot too? So this is your time. Build something to collaborate, and then I ask you, join somebody else's collaboration. Join at least one other person's and type in, so they can feel for themselves how it feels, and that you can feel for yourself when you're leading it, when a student logs on, what you see and what you don't see. So I'm going to ask everyone to join one others than their own. And if you're just watching this and you're like one of those people who's like, I'm hanging out, it's Saturday morning, I'm not doing any of this, I'm going to see if I can find one, and I will put it on the screen for you. But the fun here is to get your hands in the sandbox and start playing with the sand, to feel it, how fun it really is, so you can share it with your students. It'd be really exciting. Like Monday morning, like boom, to share with your students. You'd be so excited for this. So I'm going to go here. Get in the parking lot. And where's our oh, fantastic. You all just still see real-time collaboration, right? Okay. As I change accounts to get in here. It's coming up. I hope you're all having fun doing this. Okay, so I'm taking Amy's link. I'm going to open it up. Come on, link. Open the link. If you were to watch me do this, you're watching me just try to open the links in the Google Doc. I think a lot's going on over here on my computer. Okay, let's go. Nice. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing here. I'm going to share Amy's program. I'm going to guess this is it. Did we get it? Are we in Amy's program? Nice. I'm not going to go to any others because apparently my load time is too much of a lag. Not much fun to watch. Great. That's hopefully. But you're seeing right now real time. And so here I see the fork. That's what I was looking for before. That makes more sense. I'm gonna stop sharing so I can see you all. It's even better. And how are we doing? Do we need to speed this up, slow it down, or any questions? Any questions I didn't anticipate?
I'll just speak a little bit about using the sandbox in general, the collab feature. So this is something that was highly requested by a lot of our teachers. So we were able to add it in this fall, still learning lots with it and adding very different small modifications to make it better. But a really popular way teachers use this is for office hours. So when students are working on CodeHS, let's say a teacher opens up an assignment to grade, if they kind of make changes on it, it won't overwrite the student's code. But let's say you want to have a working session with a student to help them with a problem, then you could have a shared sandbox and help them with it that way. So that's just another idea on using this tool with students.
Are there any other questions? Are we having fun? Do you want to go back into? So that's a great question. I feel like even though I can answer it, I should push it over to the team because you probably have an official answer. Are students able to use the collaborate feature on the assignments within the modules for CodeHS?
Right. Yeah, I can answer that. Right now, no. Right now, it's only in the sandbox. That's something that we're considering offering, but we know that a lot of times the assignments within the courses are where you want to track and have students do their own work. So we didn't immediately enable that for everyone. You can tell students if you want them to collaborate on the assignments in the course to create a new sandbox program and do that. So it's not foolproof from a do your own work standpoint, but we thought at least make it a little bit abstracted from there. We may consider different types of options where you can grant permissions to groups of students to work together on assignments or have it so the teacher can collaborate with the student at the same time, even if students can't. So then you, as the teacher and the student, can see each other's cursors and work together. Could be great for a virtual or hybrid classroom experience, but those are kind of in the pipeline, hopefully coming soon.
And I'll add one more piece of this as long as I'm sharing not just how I use Collaborate, but how it fits into my particular teaching style. In addition to the idea of reducing frustration, in which I find Collaborate does really, really well, because all of a sudden you have this group think on it and they can help each other and they can ask each other and they jump in and they really do. Another place that I'm trying to change the temperature in the room is there's this idea about kind of shame in not knowing. And I'm glad that Zach is here because I asked the silliest question ever at a CarolCon. And afterwards, it was like, I was so embarrassed. And then I take that feeling, and I'm sure he remembers, but my school set me up. Anyway, but I was so embarrassed. And I just take that feeling of like, and I think about it with my students of, it's so hard sometimes to ask questions or to show that you're the person who doesn't know something in the room. So I love the idea of Collaborate, that I can show them when I make mistakes, when I make syntax mistakes, I make spelling mistakes. I love showing them I don't know everything. I've got some students that are doing things that I don't do online in different places, and they can come and they can bring it here and they can just jump in with Collaborate. And I can model for them and hopefully show and help them change ever so slightly that shift of move from embarrassment or shame to like, I don't know anything, but I know who to ask. I've got a whole classroom of people who can help me. And I use Collaborate for that. And then I can tell, I know that we started and there was a poll about, are we mostly, high school, middle school, and elementary school teachers. Also, when I move this, and especially with Collaborate, it's what I hope they take on when they go to college and code. This idea that we collaborate. It's not just me in a silo by myself, and I'm not allowed to ask anything, and I have to know it all before the teacher even asks me. I have to already know it, and I have to get it perfect, and I can't make mistakes, and I'm too embarrassed to ask anybody. So to shift that to, no, we just collaborate. you know, collaborate. We're all here, we're learning together, and to take that also when they move on from high school into their college courses. Okay, owners stop collaborating. And with that, it's 10:36. So do you want me to move into my last 2 slides that I always do, Zach, or do you guys have a different plan for this? My last 2 are the survey and the thank you. Yeah, okay. I don't know if you do the surveys here.
We
So
will
whenever-
have a survey. We'll have another survey at the end
Okay.
overall, but you go for it.
We can do it. Whenever I do a workshop, I need to know from you how I did. I need to learn from you. I need you to tell me where it went well, where it didn't go well, there were too many pauses, it was too long a lag, wasn't fun, needed more fun, all of it. So I'm going to just go back to my last 2 slides to share with you, because this is how I end all when I do my teaching here. Make sure I'm in the right place. And with any luck, I got right back here. And if you have more questions about what we did here, here is a slide of more resources in CodeHS for the teacher. All of this material is if you signed up to be a student in this section, you have access to this, you have access to all of these things and these knowledge-based resources. Going way beyond just what we did today. And what I love about CodeHS is it's never just like a little, it's so many resources, everything, you just like more and more and more. So yes, there are even more resources to help you. And also in the guides of using what we did today, although the best thing you can do is do it yourself. And there's an end of workshop survey that I always ask you to do, so you can let me know how I did and how I can make this even better the next time I am permitted to present my love of using collaborations. I don't know if I can get it in there. Oh, and then attendance, please let me know you were here, or let the team know you were here. We good? Thank you. And then I say to all of you, thank you for being here in this workshop with me. So my students love when I let them out early. But I'll let the team take it back to let you know what comes next. I know that in 5 minutes, the breaks, I'm letting this to you. I'm sending this back to you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Debbie. We appreciate it.